Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Ockwell-Smith. Welcome to my latest SOS parenting video. Today I want to talk about what you should do when you drop your child off at preschool or at school and they say, I don't want to go to school. Now, this is so hard to handle as a parent, as you're sort of thinking, I don't want to leave you. They're so upset. They might be really crying. And then you go away, and when you do leave them, you worry that they've had a really horrendous day all day. That if they've left you upset or in tears, in your mind, that's how they've been all day. You would imagine they've had a horrible day. They've been upset all day. Because you probably have been, because you've been thinking about them. And you go to pick them up, and then you get this happy smiling child, or their teacher or the childcare worker comes out and says to you, they had a great day, they were okay within a couple of minutes or 5 minutes. Because what the child isn't meaning when they say, I don't want to go to school, or I don't want to go to preschool, I don't want to go to nursery, they're not actually saying that they don't want to go in most cases. I'm sure there are a very tiny handful of cases where they really don't want to go. What they're actually telling you is, I don't like this transition. I don't like being at home and then having to go on the school run, on the nursery run, and I really don't like being left by you. Now, that's an entirely different thing to I don't want to go to school, I don't want to go to nursery, but obviously they don't have the vocabulary in order to be able to express that it's not the whole of it that I struggle with, it's the dropping off that I struggle with. So what do we do about this? I think, firstly, most importantly, understanding that when they say they don't want to go and they're begging you not to go, it isn't the whole day or the whole situation they like, it's just that drop off. But when we understand it's about the drop-off, what we can do is work to make that drop-off a little bit more easy for them. So the first thing I'd recommend here is chatting with the childcare provider or chatting with the school about it. They are absolute experts at this. They will have experienced it before, and they'll have lots of great tips for you. So just have a chat, see what they can suggest. Or really, I think even just sharing your feelings, and they can reassure you they're fine when they're here. That will really help. Sometimes if you turn up a little bit earlier, that can really help. Sometimes children struggle with the sort of the sensory onslaught that happens in the playground with all the sort of the busyness of children coming and parents coming and going and the noise and the loudness. So it can help if you turn up a bit early. Obviously have a chat with the provider, with the teacher, and say, would it be okay if we came up 5 minutes early and they can go and sit in the classroom and just be occupied with a book or something, so that everything is a lot calmer for them. It also tends to work really well if you have a child at school, if they get given a special job so that they can help the teacher when the other children are arriving, because it sort of takes their mind off of the actual drop-off itself. The other thing I'd be looking at is working on sort of attachment and helping the child to feel safe and secure without you. So if your child is starting school soon, what you could do is to practice separation. So rather than separating for the whole day or the whole morning all at once, you could maybe practice them being left for 15 minutes somewhere, and then being left for half an hour and then an hour, build up in these small sort of levels of attachment and leaving them, so that mostly they're reassured that you always come back. I would also work on a bit of a sort of a routine or a ritual that helps them with the drop-off. So having certain things they do in a certain order. And it's really nice if you make like a social story or a scrapbook, taking photos of them, say putting their school uniform on or walking to the school playground and then queuing up. And just talk through that and role play it lots, so that it takes away the unknown and it becomes more sort of known and more reassuring to them, so that they can predict what comes next at any part. And also work on helping them to feel a little bit more secure in your absence. So in the starting school book, I talk about two things that might help. One is creating like a bravery spray. So you get a little spray bottle, you put some edible food glitter in, a little bit of food dye, and they can have a spray of that if they're feeling a little bit scared. And the other thing is the drawing hearts on your palm. So you draw a heart on one palm on your hand, and then you draw it on their hand and you hold them and you show, look, they're together. So we're always attached. And if you're worried or you're missing me, if you press your heart, and then I'll know and I can press mine, and we'll be thinking of each other and feel like we're still connected. The last thing you could do is get a piece of string or like embroidery thread and tie it around your wrist, and then get that same piece and tie it around their wrist so that they're connected. And then say, look, we're always connected even when we're apart. And then what you can do is when you cut that, then they've got their little bit of colour string and you've got yours, and you could say, look, you can see, although we're not together, we've both got our string that's connected here. Obviously have a chat with the childcare provider or the teacher and let them know what it is in case they take it off of your child's wrist. But the fact that it helps you to feel connected, there's a really lovely children's book called The Invisible String that goes along with that idea as well. But just sort of ways to help them to make that detachment a little bit easier. And don't get worried about them saying, I really don't want to go, I hate it, I don't want to go, because very often it's the transition they're talking about. And you'll often find when you pick them up that they've had a really, really lovely day. So do remember, when they say they hate it and they don't want to go, it's not the same as us saying that. What they're normally saying is, I hate the transition, I hate the actual process of leaving you, which is entirely different. I hope that helps. If you want more tips about starting school, preparing your child for school, then do check out my book, The Starting School Book. If you'd like to watch more parenting videos, please do hit the subscribe button. I post a new video every Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Bye.